Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Principal Chiropractic Broadcast, sponsored by DE and Band of Brothers around the world. We got a special treat tonight. Got a guy who's been coming to DE forever and speaking to DE forever, bringing the big gun from Douglasville, Georgia, Awais, Dr. Awais Butt. But before we introduce Dr. Awais, let's get some things done. One, the room block for DE. DE is October 19th through the 22nd. The room block it's over. So if you don't have a room, don't panic. Call Kat. She'll try to get you something. If you have a room and not coming, don't cancel. Please call Kat so she can get it to somebody who needs it, because there's always that last minute shuffle. If you haven't registered for DE, do it today, not tomorrow. Get there, get registered right now so they can get the rooms set up for us. Sounds like it's going to be a big one. So sign up, register, get everything going. Let's make this a blowout. So on to our speaker night. Usually, I was just joking with Awais that usually I know exactly what to say. It's a quick intro, but his accolades and his accomplishments are immense. So Awais started school. He graduated in 2004. He went to his first DE as a student in 2001. And believe it or not, started speaking as a student. He started on the Sunday deal. Sunday is a Sunday stage as a student. He stayed when Life College was under attack and all the accreditation thing. Many people left, and tells you a whole lot about this guy. He stayed and led the people through the accreditation nightmare. He's a two-time former GCC president, the longest president of GCC history, two-term president. He's an ICA fellow. He's a father of two children, been married over 20 years, and a brother of a sister. And the reason why he's a chiropractor is his sister's story. So this guy serves and serves and serves in every way capacity. Whenever we need, and anybody needs anything, Awais is there to serve you. So with no further ado, from Douglasville, Georgia, Dr. Awais Butt. Take it over, my brother.
Well, hello. Hopefully looks a little green here. But all right, good to see you guys. Thank you for coming to watch this DE event. So give me a few seconds, I'll get my nerves calmed down, and we'll try to make a good job of this. I always want to start off with an attitude of gratitude. I'm thankful for all the people that are committed to DE, committed to chiropractic. The people that came before us fought hard, went through all the trials and tribulations, stayed committed, and still committed, making sure that the next generation gets exposed to what chiropractic is and all the fight that goes with it. Also very grateful for DE, Dr. Sid himself. Got a chance to play at the master's foot, as they say it. When I got to Life University, Dr. Sid was, that was near the end of it, but still got to experience him. And then with DE, being invited to speak, so got to be a part of just the DE family. And it's been an amazing blessing. These principles that were taught to me at DE, I don't think a day goes by where I don't think about them or I don't use them in my daily life. Or if nothing else, if I feel myself heading in the wrong direction, I can just hear those voices heading me the right direction. So I'm just so grateful for that. So many people came and, didn't really commit. And, we're going to talk about that a little bit, but I'm so glad that there's one thing that I've stayed true to. So and just kind of moving forward, so many things I can talk about here. Been practicing, started opening up our practice. I actually got an amazing opportunity. Just going to give you a little bit of backstory. I know a lot of you guys have heard me already, so just for the newbies. But either way, backstory. So came down to Life University in 2000, joined the fraternity. It was mandatory to attend DE. So went to DE, had an amazing experience with DE, fell in love with the whole concept, the whole lasting purpose. Just stayed committed to it. The whole accreditation thing happened, and I as long as, if you've heard me talk about this, I never judge the people that left because I can't judge them in the position they're in because we all have our own journey. So who am I to say, who did it right or who did it wrong? But, stay committed because the group that was there, I'm not going to call myself the leader. I definitely, there was definitely areas where leadership was missing. And if you wanted to lead, there was great opportunity. So I did lead certain movements, but there was definitely other people that championed this thing a lot harder than I did. But I stayed committed to it because I believed in it. I totally was, hey, this is the principle. This is what should be taught at Life University. And if you're coming against that, then I'm going to do my best to, not let it happen. And so fought through that, graduated in 2004. And then I started practicing. Students ask me all the time, what's a good way to start up? And I'll tell you, the ideal situation is you find the area you want to be in, and with chiropractic, once you start an office, once this thing starts, really doing good, love you too. You have to realize that you're not going to probably move. So might want to move into an area where you're like, hey, I could see myself spending the next 20, 30, 40 years or whatever your practice years are. So found an area west of Atlanta. Amazingly, the doc there was a chiropractor, she was working there, and she had me be her exam doctor in the beginning. And then once I got licensed, she gave me the opportunity to open up my office and her office. And then once we were able to hit a certain number where we could meet our overhead, then it'd be time to move out. So got licensed. It took me about 8-9 months and started hitting numbers where we're like, yeah, we can sustain an overhead. So we started open up our own, and definitely, was attending DE the whole time. Definitely there was mentors there that I was listening to the whole time. So I kind of felt protected in that way, that I wasn't just kind of hanging out by myself, which a lot of you guys that are not doing good, you're just on your own island and you just don't have the support and mentorship around you. And that's not helping you. That's, that's not going to help you, especially in the long run. So again, surrounding myself with the right people, met my overhead within a short period of time, started looking at our practice, opened up an office in a very, very humble location, like an old crackly building kind of deal. I started practicing there and just stayed committed to DE. Dr. Sid told us that you have to hit a certain amount of volume. That's going to be a good, healthy practice. So within about 2 years, we were, just thriving. And I've been doing that ever since, even still. I have had associate docs here and there, but mostly, I'm the only doc in the office, and still a good day is 150 plus. And a lot of it's families and kids. So for those of you that I just kind of blew your mind about, like, how do you even do that? When you have families of 5, 6, 7, 9, 12 coming in, you can easily get your volume up. So, that's something that, we saw over time, and still take care of a lot of families. A lot of my families that have been with me, we take care of multiple generations. There's several of them that we take care of even 4 generations, where grandparents, and then, all the way down to the kids that are coming in. And so I've sowed a lot of seeds in my community. It's built me an amazing practice. That's an amazing, amazing life. I know sometimes we come on here and it's like, what do you got to show? And, it's all the flashy stuff. And, so I have all of it, right? So, I mean, I have the house, you can imagine. I have the car, I have the whatever, it's like, I know a lot of people are tied to that. And that's great, but it's not really about that, because at the end of the day, those materials, they're not where happiness is. If you're not right on the inside, if you're not following a purpose, all that stuff will not lead you anywhere. So having this lasting purpose, being attached to that, it's huge. Love you too, Chris. So I wanted to share a message with you that honestly is not original. So going to kind of be a little bit boring about this, because it's a message that's so important that even if that's all we're going to talk about, it's more than enough to help. And really what I'm going to talk about is something that came to me a long time ago. And I don't think I'm the originator of it, because all I've done is surround myself with amazing people. So when they're saying things to me, it's going in my head. So whatever's being regurgitated is what I'm putting in my environment. And the concept there has to do with your comfort level. And I'm literally just want to spend this time that I have with you tonight just to focus on this one point. I'm sure you've heard of the story. This is a new pastor comes into a church, and he's preaching a message, and every Sunday he still preaches the same message, and next Sunday goes by and it's the same message, and next Sunday goes by, same message. And after a while, the parishioners, the people in the church are like, dude, you keep saying the same thing over and over again. Where's the next message? And he's like, well, when you start following the first message, then I'll give you the second one. You're not even doing the first thing. So, why should we move on to the second one? So I want to go to the real basics here with you, because it'd be easy for me, and I can do it too, is to give you some quick little tricks that you can apply and get a bunch of new patients in your office. If I told you about my marketing, especially when we were first opening up and we were, getting 80 to 120 new ones in a month, I would just overwhelm you. I actually am very careful to even share our marketing plans originally, because most people, you just look in their face and they're like, wow, I should have just talked about one or two things that they can do as opposed to the 10 things we're doing and just overwhelm them. There's definitely, we can definitely go down that route where, I could do the whole thing where, it's like, oh, this is here, you could do this Monday and it'll get you this many new patients and I'll get you this and this. And all that goes away if the mindset is not right. And more, what we're going to talk about with the mindset is, and I know if you're in a crisis situation right now, like if your office, your situation right now, you're drowning, that you might not hear me. Because you're in full crisis right now. Like you're worried about the next, 24 hours and 48 hours. And I'm talking about the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years. If you're in that crisis situation, then all I want to say to you is that this is the more important thing. I know the next email talking about how you can do this and make this, and the next SEO and all that, new bots you can put on your website. And I get all that. And that'll definitely generate some people. But if this part is not right, all that goes away. I've shared a story about doing a talk at a church and how we had in the next 3 days, we had 100 people come in. Like I burnt out two of my team members because of it. And the amazing part about that story was it's a Haitian church. I don't speak Haitian. They usually had to translate the words that I was saying. And the reason why that happened was because it was right up here. And really what I'm going towards, and really the big point I'm gonna make is something that I've said before, is comfort sucks. And here's my point with comfort sucks. If you're coming to DE, and I'm just gonna throw this out there to you, I do have people reach out to me about helping them. I'm not a big fan of being like a coaching thing. I believe in mentors and things like that, absolutely. And I believe there's a place for coaches and all that stuff. Just some of these firms, it's like, the ethics start to go away when a group gets together, right? Sometimes that happens. That's not what I'm going with here. What I'm talking about is like people come up to me and they're like, hey, I want to go to the next level. And the biggest thing we have to find out is why. Why do you want to get to the next level? And I'm not going really into what your why is. I know you guys have heard that before. What I'm really trying to find out is how comfortable are you in the way you're living right now? Because if you're telling me on one side, hey, I want to grow, I want these things to happen. But on the other side, you're comfortable in your lifestyle, it's going to be very hard to change you. It's going to be very hard for you to change yourself. Change happens once you get to a point where you're not going to tolerate the situation anymore. That's a great environment to create change in, right? So the first point that has to happen is you have to look at the situation and you have to say that not only am I not content here, it is irritating me so much that it's worth it for me to be not comfortable anymore. And that is a very, very important concept that I'm just sharing with you. And again, if you're in crisis, you're like, oh, wait, what the hell are you talking about, man? How do I get 5 new patients Monday? I get that. I mean, I understand your situation. But really, in the long run, if you're not sitting right, I can show you how to get those 100 people in. That's where the story of the people from the church coming in, we weren't right in the mindset. So 100 new patients came in 3 days. How many think we kept, right? And it's like, we give you this trick and a busload of people shows up Monday. And if you're not even ready for it, right? If you're not ready in the right zone, they're coming out one door and leaving out the other. And sadly, some of them are leaving with a bad impression. And that means not only are they not coming back, anybody that's within their influence is not coming back. And so the first place we have to start, the basics have to be like, how comfortable are you in the situation you're in? And you know what the reality is? Most of you are lying to yourself and telling you I'm comfortable where I am just to justify the situation. And again, that's going to be such a hard barrier to break, because if you're already in your head telling you that, hey, I'm comfortable here. This is good. I can sustain this. And the next 30, 40, 50 years that's great. If that's the situation you're in, you're probably one of the hardest people that it's going to take to change, because nobody in comfort wants to change something. Like, if you're comfortable, just simple as a Sunday afternoon when you're chilling there. The last thing to do is, hey, get up and go through some kind of a chore, right? Unless that chore is something that's so irritating, right? The grass has grown so crazy that you're like, okay, I'm letting go of my comfort here to go do this thing. So it has to start with realization that, hey, the situation I'm in, am I comfortable with that situation? And then should I be comfortable with it? Am I just literally lying to myself? And, with some people, you have to give them a reality check that, what you're saying is a comfortable life is not really comfortable. And then you kind of have to figure out what's important to you. And is that happening? Because if it's not happening, then maybe you can find something there to help change yourself. And it has to be, there's so many examples. I'll give you a quick example, not to, bring other people into it, but one of my, just more recent example is like Eddie Martinez, right? So, if you knew Eddie Martinez a couple of years ago, he was, a little bit bigger, right? So, what changed was, and he shared it with me, so not with me, with all of us at DE. It's literally a picture of him in the pool where he's got his shirt off, right? And then that was negative enough where he's like, you know what? I know it's more comfortable to just sustain the life I am. I'm comfortable. I got a great family, great life, great practice, but I'm comfortable. But something had to make you uncomfortable enough where you're going to be like, okay, I got to change, right? You need that. Otherwise, if you're comfortable, nothing's going to happen. And that's why I keep saying comfort sucks, comfort sucks, comfort sucks, right? So like the next 30, 40 years, if you just live this so much of a comfortable, what you call a comfort life, at the end of it, it's not, hey, I spent 40 years, what a comfortable life I had. Like that sucks. Comfort sucks, right? You have to get outside your comfort zone if something is going to change. And maybe you need to find something that, maybe you need to find something in motivation. And I don't know what that is for you specifically. Maybe, like a person I was talking to recently, I'm like, well, how about this? Like, where are you right now? I know you're comfortable. I know life is good. But are you hitting these milestones? Like something simple as, chiropractors, it's a physical job. It is what it is. This is a machine. Wear and tear is going to happen. It is going to break down at one point. Do you have some kind of a planning done? And even the recent podcast I was listening to was talking about how most doctors don't even have that. They don't have a plan after practice or even the finances to sustain a family after they're not, when they retire out of practice. And I'm one of those, right? Like as long as I have these two hands, we'll keep going, like we'll just keep going. But, these are physical tools. At one point, it is what it is. There's a reality that's going to kick in. And do you have that nest egg saved up for you? Are you putting enough away? And depending on where you are in the world or where you live and people you've talked to, just to give you even a solid number, do you have something like a decent number that you built up to? And, I'm being told it's easily a 7-figure number that you need in retirement, and probably even 2, right? Like 2 million or something like that you can retire and have a decent life on. It's like, well, is your comfort zone allowing you to have that, right? Because if not, then maybe that was what you can use. Maybe it's a goal for a family that, hey, if the life I have, I'm comfortable, but it's not going to allow me to do this and this. And are those things important enough to me that I'm like, I'll make myself uncomfortable because I want that to happen, right? It's like you have to. Maybe it is, hey, I want to have a wife and 2 kids. These days, raising a child is $250,000 to $500,000. Just live the way you want to do it. It's like, do I have that? Is that, are we getting uncomfortable yet? That, hey, maybe my situation is not as comfortable. And I don't want to make it just about money, but we are living in the real world. You walk outside, these days, breathing the air is costing you money. So there is an exchange that's taking place. We have to find, and ideally being a DE, following the principle, it's like, am I serving at my highest, right? Is that enough to bother me? Like, hey, I know I'm comfortable here, but man, I can serve so many more. Like so much suffering it doesn't have to happen if I can just get uncomfortable with it. And we know what the amazing thing is? Beyond this comfort zone, like amazing things start to happen. And I've shared this story before. None of this stuff is original, guys. This is the basic, but this is why we keep going. This is why you have a yo-yo practice. You know why you have a yo-yo practice? Because you're not changing inside. You just put in a gimmick and that gave you a rise. And because you didn't change it inside, here you come down again. And now you're looking for the next gimmick, right? So, when are we going to mature enough? When are we going to get to the point where we're like, well, the underlying problem is what needs to be really worked on, and all that other stuff will just start to flow through. And the example I was going to give you is so the North Georgia State Fair is taking place right now, just literally a few miles down from my house, right? A big event in North State of Georgia. And for many, many years, especially before COVID, I would get together with several other chiropractors and we would have a booth at the Georgia Fair. And now Georgia Fair is serving so many people. I'm only west of Atlanta. So, we would get together with several doctors. Dr. Bobby Braille was part of it. A couple other docs, local docs would be a part of it. Then we would just do this event together. And one of the first years we did it, if you go to the fair, in the middle is a road, and so you have the road, and on the side of the road you have booths. And these are booths of people selling, anywhere from the snake guy to, the guy selling tchotchkes and all that stuff, right? It's all the booths there. People are selling stuff and their services being done or some things that are there. And so when we had gotten a booth, either we missed the timeline or we missed something. We weren't on the booth that was here, right? So this is the road. This is where you want to be. This is like where people are walking right here on the road. So you want to be right here. That's perfect, right? We're walking right across from you. Well, our booth wasn't here. Our booth was behind everybody. It was here, right? So there's a whole booth here and then we're behind it. So we don't have direct access to the people. So they really can't see. There's a booth back there where people are, checking spines and changing lives, right? And so what had to happen was the comfort zone was there. It's like the most literal comfort zone you can find. It's behind everybody. So you don't even have to make, eye contact. And then nobody's coming to you like, hey, I can just sit here. And, some of us docs, we hired students and we hired people to help us out when we were in practice, making sure the booth's being run because the fair runs all day, right? And so this story involves Dr. Norm Kobe. Me and him, we had decided that, hey, after practice, 7, 8 o'clock at night, the evening, the fair gets really busy. We're going to go see what's going on with the booth and see if we can be a part of it. So when we get there, of course, there's a few students sitting inside the little booth tent, right? Just sitting in there, like, hopefully something happens. And it's like, hey, how did it go today? Well, of course, how do you think it went? They stayed in their comfort zone. So nothing really changed. Nothing really happened. Nobody really got talked to. Nobody got explained to. Nothing, right? The results were nothing. And so it was because of the comfort zone. And, I would love to tell you I had this original idea, but I didn't. It was because I've been going to DE. It's like, I'm kind of burning it into my head, 4 times a year. So it just, that's just what comes out. I don't even, that's what the cool thing about it is, the whole repetition of it, that if you repeat it enough, it's like, it's on automatic. It's like driving home. You don't even have to think about it. You're like, how did I just get home? Because you're on automatic already, right? And so I knew what to do. So I grabbed the spine, and Dr. Kobe, he's another DE guy. He's, again, served with Dr. Sid. He knows he's been there, so he knows it. So I grabbed one of the spines, the plastic spines, and me and Dr. Kobe, we stood here. You see where the road is? We stood here in the middle of the road with our spines. And we're like, here, we're checking spines here. You think that was comfortable? I mean, it just kind of like, I'm shaking my leg just talking to you about it. Like 1,000 people walking by, you're just a lunatic standing in the middle of it. Definitely uncomfortable, right? So about 15, 20 minutes into it, we look at our booth, and there's a whole line of people getting checked, right? And the beautiful ending is like me and Dr. Holby, we looked at each other and there's like a smile on our faces and we're like, yeah, we know how this works. But you have to get out of your comfort zone. Like we can keep talking about how you want to do this and this and this, but really it's got to be like, hey, I'm sick of this. I'm fed up of this, right? So this is going to be my, water boy. This is going to be my tackling fuel. This is going to be what's going to be motivating me. And it has to be. I mean, even there's a guy on the YouTube talking about the crab, how, the crab has to leave his shell and stuff. I mean, the crab waits till it's miserable before leaving his shell. It has to be super uncomfortable. This thing is in nature. You have to be uncomfortable before you're going to change it. It's easy to find comfort, and comfort sucks. Because it doesn't get you to where you need to get to. And the other side of it is a lot harder than this. If we would have ended that whole event and we would have had 0 signups, that would have hurt a lot more than me standing in the middle of the road acting like a fool. There have been more, it costs you more, especially here, which is the highest cost because, at the end of the day, like materials will stop somewhere. It just goes on. Comfort sucks. You have to find out. I mean, you have to find out where first. What's going to get you to the point where it's going to force you. It's going to push you enough where you're like, I'm going to leave my comfort zone for this. This is worth it for me to leave my comfort zone. And it has to be. Sadly. I mean, I would love to tell you it's all focusing on the positive, and we do. Absolutely. Affirmations are positive. Our vision boards are positive, and all that's there. Absolutely. But I know for me to get out of my comfort spot, it has to be something enough irritating to me that there's no way I'm going to let that happen. I'm going to go do this. And that's what I really hope for you guys, that, again, there's great marketing tools out there. One of my favorite marketing tools is just literally talking to the people, in your community, and being a sewed into your community and being a part of that. And none of that stuff is comfortable, like networking events and screenings, not comfortable at all, right? I'd rather just stay home and with my family and just be, in this protected little comfortable little spot. But and that is amazing, absolutely. But I have to get out of my comfort zone. If things are going to change, I have to leave my comfort zone. So those are the words I want to leave you guys with. There's so many messages to share, but I believe that if you focus on this one thing, this is where it starts. If you, yeah, Dr. Porter, yeah, we all were working at that fair, right? But if you focus on this one thing, the next level has to happen here. There has to be this, and then the next level comes. So hope for the best for you guys. I'm looking forward to DE, amazing DE. We got lots of fun stuff planned. Stay committed to this thing. When you tell the universe you're committed to something, it's amazing what happens. Like just showing your commitment even to DE or committing to a purpose. That in itself, the universe starts to confound around that because you are committed. So, stay committed to DE. It's amazing. Like even myself, again, I'm not just saying that. I've only put money into DE. Like, that's where the joke is. Judson had called me up and doing about that. I'm like, are we getting paid the same? Which is me paying into it more than paying out of it. And of course we have a joke about it, right? Nobody at DE is there to make a profit off you. If you think that, Dr. Steve Judson being our leader, I guarantee you Dr. Steve Judson spend more money at DE than all of us, and a lot of us even combined. Taking a whole family to DE, you can't imagine the numbers on that stuff. So, nobody's there to make any money off of you. We're only there to help you. But, if we're going to be able to help you, you're going to have to break down a little bit. And that part is not comfortable. And I think that's what a lot of stops even people from coming from DE, because they know, because DE, we just literally slap you in the face with it. Like, here, this is what you need to do. And not everybody's ready for it. But that's what you need, and that's what needs to happen. And I've seen Dr. Sid do it. I've seen the leaders do it. And I think the leadership right now is still maintaining that. So we'd love to see you next DE, definitely, looking for a fellowship in the future. So excited for all that. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you very much. And I love and appreciate you.
Oh, man, you just made me uncomfortable. Thank you.
All right. All right, brother.
I got like 3 pages notes, but you said it. Change only happens when you can't tolerate where you are anymore. I remember when I first came to my first DE, going to my second DE, is like, I can't go back and be the same person. I just can't do it. And I was so uncomfortable with my skin. And I think we all got to find that space for us to really find how we can accelerate our change, right? And,
yeah. And that just gave me just got goosebumps from you saying that, because that's it, man. Like, you got to be like, it's got to change. That's where it starts. If you can't commit to that, that's where your testimony starts right there, brother. That's awesome.
Exactly. And then you said about getting in the zone, and think about, like, if a patient walks in today and I'm not in the right zone, I just missed an opportunity, and I may have messed up the rest of their life because they got a bad me that day. I can't have a bad day because the first time a person walks in the door, they may have a terrible opinion of chiropractic because I sucked that day. So that, you got to prepare every day, every moment before they walk in the door. God, I got all kinds of notes, but yeah, just too comfortable sucks. There's no doubt about it. No doubt about it. Hey, man, thank you so much. And you hit the nail on the head. See everybody at DE. Let's get together and just rock this thing. Love you all.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for all the people posting. I keep an eye on the posts too, comments, and stuff.
I can't see without my glasses.
Oh, yeah.
Love
the one guy cussed me out, but that's all right. There's always that guy.
We'll see you in 2 weeks.
See you guys.